On the heels of last week's Capacity Summit, where experts talked about why Corpus Christi is limited on convention business, another week-long convention has been going on called the Agriculture Summit. Brian Burns tells us about the current convention and why some visitors say they like what they're seeing right here around town.
We are coming back. Corpus Christi actually fits our needs very well, and in truth, we are coming back in 2021, 22, and 25.
That's Barney McClure, the director of the Agriculture Teachers Association of Texas. Some 2,300 teachers are attending the week-long professional development conference at the American Bank Center. Besides the teachers, some of their family members and 100 vendors are in the city for the conference.
I think Corpus Christi is great because they want us. Not every city in the state of Texas is able to hold us.
Despite the endorsement, experts at the Capacity Summit held last week believe the city could attract much more business if we had the facilities. Paulette Kluge, the president of the city's Convention and Visitors Bureau, says millions of dollars are lost each year because meeting planners don't think the city has enough facilities for their needs. The biggest needs are upgrades to the American Bank Center and a convention center hotel, which has been discussed for years.
When you have speakers or you have a board of directors or you have people that are attending, they just walk through a hallway to get to the meetings instead of having to go outside and wait for a bus or get in their car and come to the convention center.
Kluge says developers are waiting for upgrades to the bank center before committing to building a convention center hotel. She also says there is support on the council for making the improvements, but there's no indication when those upgrades might be made. Brian Burns, 3 News.